What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Mr. Dan here. Welcome back to another Martial Arts Monday review. This week we're going to take a look at 1973's The Awaken Punch, known in the United States and perhaps elsewhere as Fury of the Black Belt. The punch does get awakened in the film, but for U.S. audiences, they wanted to come up with a title with the word like black belt in it, one of those key words. By that time, the Kung Fu craze was on. People, everyone knew what a black belt was. So that's hence the name change. This is going to be a short review in terms of describing the plot, because I know I say this not every week, but I often say that the plot follows a formula. This one really does. Actually, the best thing to do is just to read the plot summary. But first, let me just talk about the release. This was released through MVD Entertainment, MVD Visual, and VCI. You can usually find some of these titles on either website. Just look around for the best price. This was released with The Prodigal Boxer, which I've already reviewed on the channel, and this is part of their Pearl River series, where they're taking more obscure films, cleaning them up, adding special features, coming up with the best version they can, and releasing them for our viewing pleasure. So far, there have been 4 of these Pearl River releases. In addition to these 2, we had the excellent Dynamo, starring Bruce Lee, and Leg Fighters, starring Dorian Tan, among many others. So they're all numbered on the side. You can see the Pearl River numbers, the 1, 2, 3, 4. So I have reviewed both of those as well. So this is hopefully, as far as I know, so far we have these 4 releases. So what will they release next? Time can only tell. I hope they keep going. I really do. Got a lot of good people like Michael Worth involved in this project. So let's just read the summary. In a 1973 film that bears many similarities to Bruce Lee's debut film, The Big Boss, The Awaken Punch's Henry Yu Yang plays an altruistic fighter who begins to build a name for himself as he violently cleans up the town from within its more seedier elements. Okay, I'm just going to stop there and say that both maybe in here and especially in this little booklet that comes in, which I really appreciate that they're including things like this. There are some spelling mistakes and some misprints, possibly some grammar and syntax errors, although some of those may be misprints. Sometimes there's one case where they just repeated half a sentence in a place it didn't belong. So, hey, I can proofread for you guys if you guys, I'll work for free. I'll happily jump in and proofread these for you. If you do this again, I hope you do. Anyway, from within, it's more clean. Okay, yeah, I guess that makes sense. But when he must abide by a promise to his dying father to give up his fighting ways, he will be faced with a new challenge in the arrival of the knife-throwing master Tian Feng, who was in Fist of Fury, and his gang, with action from legendary Yun Wu Ping and a cameo from young Jackie Chan and others. This basher is the epitome of the punch and block violence that began a long trend with martial arts cinema. Okay, a couple things about that. Yeah, I forgot to mention, this is called the Basher Box. Now, not to be confused with some of the another release from Shaw Brothers, but the term basher refers to a early 70s sort of phase, I would say, of these films where it's mostly just punch, block, raw violence, not as many techniques. Nobody's like learning snake style to beat tiger style or anything like that. It's just, punch, block, emotion, violence, bashing other people, which is what we like, right? Also, let me just say something. Yes, Jackie Chan is in this. There's a scene where he plays a thug who's not really related to any of the other thugs, who's harassing a young lady, and our hero watches and he kind of pisses him off, but he can't do anything. And it kind of pisses you, the viewer, off. Yep, you can spot Jackie Chan in here. There's also some other real veterans in here. I'm going to just highlight somebody today, and that is Hark On Fong. Okay? Now, his IMDb picture is pretty good. Okay? A lot of the pictures they have on IMDb, which is probably not the best database for Kung Fu and martial arts movies, they'll take a picture when the actor was young or old, and then you see a movie, and you're like, wait a minute, he's in this? Where is he? Or they'll pick out a picture, take a screen grab when he had like a role with big bushy eyebrows or something. But yeah, On Fong was born in 48, died in 2016. He was in many, many films. Police Story, Kung Fu Hustle, Dragon Lord. Let's keep going here. Small parts in like Ip Man, The Final Fight. Ip Man 2, he played Master Cheng. That's a pretty good role. 14 Blades, The Counselor. Just tons of titles. Most of these were probably seen more like in Hong Kong. Lethal Angels. Ghostly Bus. Ghostly Bus. Oh, wow. We used to have that on VHS. It's about a ghost bus. Scared the heck out of my kids. They were like, we're out. We're going to go in our room until this is over. Yeah, apparently he was in that. Handsome Siblings, Twin Dragons, Outlaw Brothers. Just tons. Anyway, I know him mostly. For me, my favorite role of his is of the character Prey in John Woo's Last Hurrah for Chivalry. That like pray like this kind of pray, because you have to pray for death when you meet him. This was even before the Sho Kosugi movie. But that's my favorite movie and character that he's appeared in, as when he has a major role. So he's like one of the henchmen. And the villain, Huang Haifeng, is played by Fang Tian, who is appropriately evil in the role. He throws knives. So there's some very effective scenes where it's just like lightning quick. You're way over there and you think you're going to square off against him. But before you can close the distance, he's throwing knives at you. Pretty cool. He's very good. He's got some henchmen, White Fan and Black Fan. And they bring in a couple additional guys from another village that they have a reputation for being tough guys. But they have to put them to a test first, which is always cool. One of those guys is played by On Fong. And essentially, exactly what I said happens. You got a young guy in the beginning. He's fighting in tournaments and winning. Some thugs want to just basically steal his land, and he's like, no. And then it turns to violence, and he kicks their asses. Meanwhile, he sees a very innocent and kind of a plain Jane young lady on the street being harassed. He helps her. Then he goes back to his apartment. He looks in. He's got like a bachelor pad. It's all cleaned up, and then she's there. She's like, I don't have anywhere to go. And he's like, you can't stay here. But then he gets a notice that his father is ill. So he goes to see his father. He makes the promise to his father that he won't fight. He's got a sister and a friend. And then the woman eventually travels up to meet him. But turns out where he went is sort of like the headquarters for the bad guys. And, he tries to avoid violence, but some pretty horrific acts happen, and it's time to kick ass. And he does. Okay, and as is often the case in these films, when you have someone like Henry Yu Yang in the lead role, someone you're not maybe familiar with, they tend to really do a pretty good job. I don't know if I've ever seen someone step up in the lead role and be a complete dud. They always seem to find some very capable actors to play the lead if some of the more recognizable names were not available. And a lot of these actors, they sort of then stepped back into the background and had supporting roles or went back into stunt work. But he acquits himself well here. He does a really good job. Now, let's get into the book. This is sort of a basher films, but this is definitely one of the better ones. And it's a great essay about the Yun clan. Yun Wu Ping. You had his father was Simon Yun Su Tsin, who passed away in 1979. He was the guy, if you've ever seen like the Jackie Chan movie, was it Snake and Eagle Shadow? He's the old master in that sort of old, sloppy looking master, with the floppy hat. He pioneered that, and he played that role like 6 times before he died in the middle of making a film with Sammo Hung, so they had to replace him, sadly. So he was old. So if you were wondering whether that was a guy made up to be old, no, he was old when he started that, and that was a huge hit for both the Yun clan and Jackie Chan, Snake and the Eagle Shadow. But leading up to that, he was choreographing movies like this, and this essay really talks about the whole family. I'm not going to go into it, but there's a lot of them. But and this is choreographed by Yun Wu Ping, who of course would later go on to choreograph scenes from Matrix. And essentially, this film benefits from the participation of the Yun clan. So it's a basher movie, but it does stand out from some of the other ones, and they have like some bullet points as to why. So I'm just going to read those real quick. Number one, having diverse camera angles and edits to change the cadence, making the moves look different enough and not bore the audiences. Yeah, and some of these, it's very repetitive. That's not so much the case here. Two, varied emotions. The general mood of the fights typically have two emotions, rage and anger. But notice, again, the grammar, the syntax, the wording here is funny. But, okay, I'll just paraphrase it my way. But this one has different emotions sprinkled in to keep them from grating on the audience like a disco drum beat. Number three, the choreography tells a story. There's a solid beginning and end that serves the overall story. Yeah, the fight scenes like that are pretty good. Okay, there's no wasted movements with the choreography, meaning something is always at stake or peril with each move and reaction to the attack. Yeah, true. Even a great one of my favorites that I reviewed on the channel, Soul Brothers of Kung Fu. It's just like fight after fight after fight. You know, one of those three fights could have sort of moved the plot along. And number four, the number of misses in the film is very little, so people aren't really missing each other. You know, they do miss occasionally to keep it realistic, but not that often. And you know, the other thing that I'll mention, this is my observation. There's a really cool scene where, because of course the villain owns a brothel and the girls are being mistreated there, unless you go along with them. And at one point, he shows off how strong he is by breaking some rope. So someone tricks him into trying it again. And just then our hero attacks. And it's pretty cool because for a while, he's got his arms tied. So at one point, he pulls the guy in and starts throwing some knees, like Muay Thai style. I thought that was pretty cool. You don't really often see that. That was kind of just a brief scene, but a little bit different than we're used to. And then I do have to say the ending, like many of these films, it ends abruptly. Okay, and I kind of thought maybe, are we going towards a totally 100% happy ending? No, not quite, because our good guy rather, has, you know, done a lot of damage to a lot of people, so he's not quite getting away with it at the end. But so it's not like a lot of these, it's not super happy ending, but it's a pretty good ending. It just beware, it comes on quick. Anyway, have you guys heard of this? What are your thoughts about the Awaken Punch, aka Fury of the Black Belt? Have you seen it? Are you interested? Let me know in the comments below. And I'll see you here next time. We've got Enter the Dragon coming up soon, which will complete my Bruce Lee film reviews. And then I'll go ahead and rank the Bruce Lee films. I may have some special guest reviewers for that one, so come back again soon. Thanks. Later.